goddamn get it on, will ya? Woo. When the blow up now, everybody's so unusual with it. Shit. But said times in his rhymes, cause his memories, we running through New York.
Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be going over a subject that a lot of you guys have been asking me to do, and that is the running costs of the M5 and how much have I spent since I've actually purchased this car. Now, a lot of you will be new here from seeing when I purchased my E60 M5, and a lot of you are still asking the question as why I actually bought this car. I did explain it already in my previous videos, but I just want to go over it again, really, and how much it's cost me and how much I've actually spent on the actual car itself, being all the parts I've done. And as you guys saw, this was probably the most neglected E60 M5 in the country. But bearing in mind, I've overhauled the whole car and it's had everything now brand new. The car runs like an absolute dream. I'm going to go over the running cost and future ownership of actually owning one of these cars, and what it would cost someone like you, an ordinary person who works an ordinary job, if it would be economical and if it would be actually viable to actually owning this long term. So I've been getting asked recently about the running cost of the M5. Everyone wants to know how much I've actually spent on this car. Now, truth be told, I only paid $4,250 for this car from BMW dealers who couldn't diagnose the issues. And secondly, the bill ended up racking up so high based on electronic problems, the person couldn't afford it. Now, this car has had 8 owners, bearing in mind, and when you factor all that in, you can see exactly why. This car was always covered under warranty, and if any of you knew the original number this car had, which you guys won't know because I put it on my own private plate, you'd see that this car is all over the internet already before I'd even got it. This car is very, very well known, and it's very well known. It's been owned by a lot of performance centres in the UK, and it's been for a lot of hands. But when it was in the performance centre, it's actually sitting on a lot of their portfolios for being one of the best E60 M5s they ever had. I may even link it and actually show you guys the photos. It was this exact car before it had all the retrofits inside it and everything. This was when it was only on, I think it was around 60k. I think the people that actually owned it, the performance centre, actually paid to have all that changed theirself on the engine before they got rid of it. So they paid to have the whole new and revised stuff all on this engine, so I didn't have to worry. It also had the new SMG pump for the gearbox fluid, which is a common failure on these. They paid to have that done as well. I've got receipts all in there from what the performance center actually paid to have it all done by BMW when it was in. They had all the new stuff done from 2007 and up on this one, so I got very lucky when I bought this, and that was one of the reasons why I purchased it when I saw it. I fell in love with it, and as I said to you guys, I never ever thought I would have owned an E60 M5, and this wasn't due to it being uneconomical or the running costs or anything like that. When I saw this car, and let me just assure a lot of you guys, I never even knew how much the parts or prices were for this engine. Never at all. At the end of the day, I just took it and I knew I could do it. It wasn't a case of, oh my God, am I going to be able to afford it? I didn't think of that at the time. I knew I could. Therefore, it wasn't up for negotiation, because the way I've seen it actually now, since owning this car, this has been a pleasure to own, and this car will never get rid of. I've actually fallen in love with the E60 M5, and it's probably been one of the best cars I've actually ever owned. That being said, it's not going to be a great car for everybody by anyone's standards, and I'm going to go over all the expenses it actually cost me. Now, I was meant to show you guys the receipts, but I thought I'd leave that to another video as well. I've got all the receipts in there showing what this car's actually had done to it, and I'm very, very happy, and that's why I got very, very lucky finding this for the price I did. So let's factor it all in and be realistic about this. I am very lucky and very fortunate that I didn't come to YouTube and just the average DIY like a lot of people on YouTube. You guys have to remember, I was already built up in the trade where I've been experienced working in garages, having contacts already in the trade that deal in BMW. Dealerships know me, garages know me all over the UK and things like that already before, from where I worked and where I was in the trade from the age of 13, dealing with cars left, right and centre, and flipping BMWs, buying them, repairing them and sending them. So I'm very lucky to be fortunate to be on a trade account, which I get half price on parts already. Very fortunate to have people willing to do me deals on parts who I know. So let's go over the parts that I did replace on this, for instance. So ignition coils, to your normal cost for this car in America, it's around $1,200 for all 10. Here it will be just probably around the same. I end up getting all 10 ignition coils for around £400, which were all the proper Bremmy ones, all of them, and I replaced every single one, even though they said they replaced 4. I wasn't taking no chances. I took them 4 out and put them away, and if they're good, then I'll put them in if they don't think what's to happen with these, which I don't think it will. So that was a cost already to me, which when you think about it with the car, I'm only in so far at 4,650. The next one was the throttle actuators. Now, many of you guys know there's a company that actually specializes with building them. I'm very, very friendly with the guy, and he actually lives very local to me, back in my hometown in London. So I know Jason very, very well, and he knows me very, very well. When I first purchased this, he was meant to come out and he was going to bring me them, but I said to him to leave it and just send them to me because it would be easier, because I didn't want to start stripping the engine where I was, so it wasn't worth that. He sent them to me, we cut a deal, and I only actually paid $250 for both of them, which was really, really good. And I sent him back my old ones because I wasn't going to have no need for them anyway. So I paid $250, and obviously they come with lifetime warranty. So when you look at that, I'm only in £4,900 into this car already. So that was the throttle actuators done, as well, as you guys would have seen. The next one was the modules, guys. As you know, the KBM was blown, the relay inside it for the washer motor, and it wasn't releasing the windscreen washers. So that was also another thing that I had to sort out. Luckily, I already had one of them, so I didn't actually have to pay for that. So that was a complete bonus as well. The next one was the battery drain, which I ended up sorting out, which was killing this car to a T. Over literally within hours, the battery was going completely flat. You could leave it and you would end up with the car on the lift, which means the battery discharge light. I managed to nail that down, so that didn't cost me a penny. We sorted that. I'm very, very happy. Now the car drives like a dream. So that didn't cost me a damn penny to replace the high battery drain on this car. It was all different components inside the car which was causing the battery drain. So I had to sort that out, on which I did, and now the car drives perfectly with no battery drain. I also had to buy a new battery from where it actually knackered the old battery completely out. And I don't think the last owner actually replaced it, even though they said they did. It just didn't look like a new battery. So I paid for a new battery as well, which is £150. It is a Bosch battery in there. You guys probably would have seen on my video, it's got a different battery from when I actually purchased the car. I bought a brand new Bosch S4 battery, which is 110 amps an hour, which is now in the back, and it works perfectly fine. The car drives perfectly fine with no problems. The next one we ended up doing was the K&N air filters. Now they got sent to me by a company as well. So again, I didn't actually pay for both of them, but to your normal average person, they're around £130. So if you are going to buy them, that's what they'll cost for the panel filters, which I think they should be fitted to an M5, because the amount of money you're going to spend on normal air filters every 7,000 miles, it doesn't make sense, where you can clean them too and have them long term. I also, as you guys know, replaced the SZL, which is the center console panel, because the electric steering column wasn't working and that communicates together. We also replaced that. That was £90. I had that shipped from the US to here because it's something we couldn't get. The way my car's fitted with the heated and cooled seats, we didn't have that panel here in the UK, and it's very, very hard to source this one. That's only specially sourced in the US. I got it. It works straight away, as you guys saw on the video as well. So that was £90. The next one I ended up spending on was the steering wheel trim here and the new airbag. So the new airbag will cost me £200. That was no discount at all. That comes direct from my breakers. That was £200. Because I'm a bit OCD now, most people wouldn't consider that. I was very OCD, and I replaced the whole airbag, which was £200 just to have the badge not damaged. I also replaced the steering wheel trim down here, which was another £60 direct from BMW. The whole brand new trim, which I bought, and it cost me £60 direct from BMW for the steering wheel trim, which I think is very, very cheap for a genuine BMW trim. The next one I ended up replacing on this was the headrest here, as you'll see. Now, if you see on my previous video, someone had cut into the back of them and made TVs in the back. So I ended up buying 2 brand new headrests direct from BMW for a cost of £600. So that was another thing I had to do, and then we ended up doing that, and so then I got the brand new headrests on. And like I said, I'm very, very happy with them. They were brand new, come direct from Germany, so they all been fitted as well and fully functional. Another thing you guys saw on the video as well was when I got the car, it was in reduced limp mode. Now what someone had done is run the fuel so low that it ended up popping a fuse. These cars cannot be run low on fuel. As you guys know, the fuel lubricates the fuel pump inside the tank, and obviously it must have drawn air and blown the fuse. BMW dealer did not find that out, and they thought it was a problem with the fuel fit tank itself or some other problem electrical on the car. I found out it was the fuse, and the car got run into full power. That's why I got the car so cheap in the first place. There was many problems with this car, and the guy didn't want to pay out for. Warranty wouldn't cover the majority of them, i.e., like I said to you, the steering column was not working. There was many problems with this car, but I've managed to bring this car back to its former glory. The next one on this, guys, as well, now, as many of you guys have always been asking me, is the rod bearings. Now, the rod bearings, I come up with a deal with my good friend Jason again, who done the throttle actuators. He sells the rod bearings, and also the rod bolts. So realistically, I only paid him £300 for both of them. The rod bearings were only about 100 anyway, so we didn't cut, but the bolts we come down on, and I got them both for 300. Now, a lot of you guys are going to ask me what else I bought. So that was the sump gasket direct from BMW. I bought the Vanos line as well direct from BMW. I bought all the new bolts for the sump. I paid for all new washer rings when the Vanos line was coming off to put the Vanos line back on. I paid for every new bit that was going to be coming off was going to have new bits put on. So I also paid for that as well to be put on, and I ended up getting everything. I think it was for a total of £120 on my trade account, which worked out really good. So bearing in mind, you guys are going to ask me about the labour cost involved on the rod bearings. So the rod bearings alone didn't cost me a damn penny. We did it. I was there. I was actually doing the majority of the work. I was stopping and filming. Me and my guys were just helping me. The garage I used to actually work at, now there's new owners, but I actually know the new owners very well. I'm very friendly with them. I do a lot of the programming, a lot of their keys for them, and a lot of other stuff for them as well, on the computer side of things with BMW. So they didn't actually charge me a penny to do the rod bearings. But to the normal average person, I think the job is around 2,200. Now, bearing in mind, I got very lucky with these guys. I just rang them and remembered them off my head last minute. And like I said, I was meant to go to another garage who was otherwise going to end up paying. So I got very lucky with that. And these guys ended up saying, yeah, they could do it for me as long as I was there helping them, which I did. And like I said, that's why I recorded the video for you guys to actually see it. So another thing, guys, if you would have seen my videos, you'll know as well, I replaced the Ionic control modules. Now, they come to me very cheap. I paid £100 for both. So that was another component. And as you guys know, it controls the timing, and also it controls the spark of the ignition coils itself. It distributes the power from the Ionic modules to the ignition coils. So they cost me £100 as well. So another thing on this car, guys, that I've replaced is the upper and lower control arms. So they run me a cost of nearly £400 just to replace them. I replaced them both, and they were fully done as well because they were completely shot, as you guys would have seen on the rod bearing video. The other thing I've replaced on this car would be the rear brake lines. Now, the rear brake lines were severely corroded. I replaced all of them and redone all the rear brake lines on this car. So the new owner, if I was ever to sell it, would never have to worry about that again. They've all been fully done, fully seated properly, and fully tacked up, and fully done the way I like them. So I redone all them. I took this car down to my friend's garage, pull it on the ramp, and I did it all on the ramp. So it was a piece of piss to actually do on the ramp, the rear brake lines. So as you've seen there, guys, a lot of money and effort has gone into this car. It's been a long journey to get this car to where it is today. And like I say, for the normal person in a normal job, they would struggle to get this car to the condition that I've managed to get this in already, because you got to factor in, if you have to pay a garage, a lot of people would have to say for 2 months wages. The minimum wage here is probably about £1,800 to £1,900 a month after tax. Now, factoring in people's rent and things like that, this car wouldn't be economical for normal people to actually run, bearing in mind the cost of throttle actuators and rod bearings, which is 2 main jobs that all these cars need doing. But like I said, I got very lucky on it, and like I did on my other E60 as well, I got very lucky on all parts on that, so parts didn't cost me really much. But that's not to say everyone has that advantage. They don't when owning a BM, so that's why these cars are uneconomical for other people to run. But I just want to say one thing. There's a lot of people on eBay, on Gumtree, that are sitting there saying they've got one of the cleanest M5s in the country. Truth be told, they're then putting in their ad that it's only had 1 throttle actuator in its life and 2 ignition coils just replaced, yet they think it's the cleanest M5 because it's had 1 throttle actuator. This car that I own right now, and I'm not saying it's the cleanest in the whole world, is the cleanest E60 M5 you will ever find in probably the UK, with everything done and nothing been skimped out on. Every single thing that this car has needed, it has had, and it has not missed, and anything it does need in the future, it will have. So I don't even have to worry about that. Everything on this car has been done, and it drives absolutely faultlessly. Not one fault code, as you guys have seen. There is not one fault code in this car for anything on the engine or anything related. Like I said, we've done everything properly. I have people who I know doing everything properly with me, so everything has been done top, you know. And there's many people out there that cannot say the same with their E60 M5s. There is loads of bags of crap out there when you're looking at E60 M5s online. The rod bearings ain't been done, the throttle actuators ain't been done, and then they have the cheek to say it's only got 1 done. Majority of them are saying, oh, it got done under warranty. Well, that goes to show me that car's going to be neglected, because with warranty on one of these, do not buy one warranty, only replace the part that fails. They will not replace it if it's not failed. That is how warranty works. Same as BMW, they will not diagnose it, they will not fix an issue if it's not faulty, and warranty won't cover it. If warranty won't cover it, you have to pay for it yourself. And this is where a lot of people are scared of owning these cars. Do not be scared. If you do want one that is your dream car, put the effort in, work on this car, and it will reward you big time. As I said, I'm not going to sit here and say I was a lover of this car. I never was. But since owning it, The moment I saw it and drove it, I fell in love with this car instantly. And like I said, I haven't regretted a damn moment. And I therefore will not regret a damn moment of owning this car. Like I said, the S85 is a legendary engine, and it is going to constantly be a legendary engine because it was the only V10 ever made, and therefore the sound on it is just purifying, especially when you drive it and you go to the high RPM. It's one of the best cars I've ever owned, and it's a simple fact, and I will say that it is truly the best car I've ever owned. And I'm not saying that to sit here to be biased towards any of the other engines. I'm not, but for an M car, this performs the way I want it to perform. And like you guys know, I like my naturally aspirated engine. So for me, the S85 meets every demand, all I need. You know, obviously there will be the future where I have to get a turbocharging to keep this channel going. But this car will always have a special place in my heart because of the way it drives and the way it sounds. And I don't ever look to get rid of this car because the principle is I don't have to. Everything is fixed on this car. It's not a car that gets used daily. And that's the thing, a lot of people confuse this to use this as a daily car. If you can't repair this car and you're going to buy one and want it on warranty, this is not good for your daily car. And that's what the majority of the old owners were doing. When I go through all the papers of all the warranty papers on this car, the every owner got rid of it every year because it was costing them too much, because they just didn't want to do the work. And because they only wanted to drive it, they would have it for the summer and then sell it by the winter. That's what a lot of them were doing. That's why it racked up so many owners. And now you guys know I've got a car that's worth nearly 12, 13 grand already now. And I got it for cheap. You know, it's cost me no more than £8,000. And I'm very, very happy with the way this car's come out. So I hope this has cleared a lot of things up for you guys, and now I've gone over how much this car's actually cost me. Thank you very much for watching. This BMW Dr. Dean here, and goodbye.